DawnDares2Dream, I like to inspire and motivate adults to dream again. Because as we go through life and take on our different roles and responsibilities, we tend to put our dreams on the back burner. And my goal here at DawnDares2Dream is to help you pick those dreams back up and to pursue them again. Now, I want you to understand, I started DawnDares2Dream because I wanted to relay my message and my heart and my feelings across to whomever would listen. It can be difficult getting your closest family and friends to understand the way that you believe and when you try to express it and share it. So this was like my backdoor way into letting everybody know. Now, I may have lost some viewers as a result of that because they don't agree, and that's fine. I am definitely a proponent of everyone having their own thoughts, their own process, their own mindset that works for them. Your religion works for you, you keep that. No one's telling you to get rid of that. Whatever it is that works for you, continue to use it. I'm just saying that sprinkle some of this other information on it, this personal development information that I'm providing you, and see where your life takes you and how you take off personally. Always remember, we are in control of how we see our environment. I don't care what everyone says it looks like or everyone says it is. We are in control of how we choose to perceive the environment as well. Hey dreamers, welcome back. And thank you to all the new dreamers who stopped by DawnDares2Dream today to see what we're all about. Well, if you watched yesterday's video, you know that I'm talking about the 3 phases of my life. I want to share my story, my survival phase, my living phase, and my thriving phase. And today we're going to talk about my living phase. And like I told you in the last video, I got diagnosed with being bipolar, I'm going to say at the end of my surviving phase, and then I moved to Texas. You want to hear that story, just pick up the series, just look up the series, My Bipolar Journey. I'm going to put it at the end of this video, but you can click on that and it will give you the whole breakdown of how I got here and all the things and being diagnosed. But today we're just really going to talk about how it was when I first arrived. And remember, yesterday I talked about how in survival mode, we're hungry and all we want to do is figure out and learn how to get out of this mode to get to living. And we are just, or at least for me, my eyes were just on the prize, whatever I thought the prize was at the time. Anyone who came into my life that seemed to have a better life, I was trying to figure out how I could get that life because I just knew that where I was in life in survival mode wasn't where I was supposed to be. So when I got to Texas, the wonderful thing about here is the cost of living is really low. And I didn't live in the best of the neighborhoods, but I'm telling you, I had an apartment and I had a car, and I think I was making like $6.75 an hour. And then because I was working at Jason's Deli, everyone. If you know Jason's Deli, that chain, they weren't all over the country at first. They were only here in Texas. And I worked there when they were only here in Texas. And so I started out there at $6.75. But one of the managers, female managers, Angel, was like, no, you should not be a regular like cashier or whatever. She says, I don't know how you're paying your bills like that. She was actually younger than me because I was like 30 years old, I think, at this time, and she was in her 20s. I love her. I do not remember her name, but she was like, we're going to change this. So they had every year where they're hiring managers, and she made sure that I filled out an application. She told me about it. And it was, the irony of it is my GM never really told me or pushed me to do it. It's almost like when people see greatness in you, some people, they want to keep it to themselves. They want to hold it to themselves. And I was such a great worker. And I think I was older than him. But you know what I mean? He wanted to keep me all bottled up, and you can't do that. So this particular manager was like, no, you're going to apply. And what happened was when I applied, they made me closing supervisor. So then I went to $9 an hour. Y'all don't understand. $3 extra. Woohoo! I was making some dough back then. And I didn't have a child. It was only me. I didn't have any debt or anything that I was paying for. Now, granted, I had student loans, but they were in deferment because I wasn't making enough money to pay them. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm moving and shaking. And so I became a manager. When I became a manager, I got paid weekly. I was making, I think, about $31,000 a year. And this was 17 years ago, 16 years ago. It was around the time when I first moved here. So somewhere between 16, I think, and like 14 years ago. So Anyway, so I did that and I worked, but remember, I'm bipolar, and being a manager of anything, especially when you're dealing with customer service, it's kind of stressful. And then the personalities that you're working with. So I ended up quitting. I couldn't take it. I quit with no job in sight. And again, so I went and got another job waiting table somewhere, some mom and pop restaurant place here in Houston. I worked there, of course. They loved me too, but it really wasn't enough money. Angel, ding, 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 came ringing by way of Casey. And so Casey had a friend who name was Teresa. And Teresa was leaving a job she was an admin at, and so a receptionist. So she said, well, before they put this on the market and put it out there on the job boards, let me rush and see if I know anybody. Because remember, they loved Teresa at the jobs. She had only worked there like a month. I don't know why she was leaving, but she was like there a month or two or something. But so anyway, Teresa says, I have somebody, because she calls me and says, you need you. I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll do it. So I go in. I had never been a receptionist before. Teresa had to tell me everything I needed to do because I had never done it. I mean, I'm smart and all, but I don't know how to transfer, you know? I don't know how you transfer the call. And that was really my biggest fear, not using the computer. I was savvy with that. You know, I can write, I can speak. So wasn't any of that, you know? But I didn't know how to transfer calls. So I'm like, Teresa, how do I do it? And the funny thing is, my person who I directly reported to, I guess you could call her Sunny, she actually basically taught me everything as if I didn't know anything anyway. So it really worked out. I was blessed in that sense because I didn't know what I was doing, y'all. But the point I'm making is, when you are ready to live and you're not living in always consciously thinking about the past and what has happened and, you know, woe is me and all of those things, because by the time I got to living, I had let some of that stuff go. Wasn't healed, I need you to understand. I was not healed. Had only decided that my past was not going to dictate my future. That was actually my mantra. I used to say it to myself all the time. I don't know where I read it. I don't feel like I read it anywhere, but you see it in different forms, in different quotes. But for me, I used to say to myself, my past does not dictate my future. I did not know how to forgive my parents for not being there for me, for neglecting me. I didn't know how to forgive. I didn't know how to forgive my brother, really. I didn't know how to forgive any family members that I'm blaming who I felt like should have helped. I didn't know how to forgive. But what I did know how to do was move on. So I decided that my lack of knowing how to forgive, I'm going to move on. And even in my moving on and even in my survival mode, I was always thankful. I was always grateful. I was always thankful for who I was, what I had. I was thankful that I could see, walk, and talk in survival mode as a kid, because I lacked so much. There was not much to be thankful for. So what I decided to do was be thankful for the small things, because that's all I could do. And that attitude moved me, pushed me into this living mode where I've gotten diagnosed, which is great. And I'm taking my meds, you know, and I'm making a little bit more money. And so when Teresa calls, I get this job, and I worked there for a couple years. But what you got to get is, when you are really in that grateful, thankful, I don't know how to forgive, but I want to forgive, and I want to move on with my life mode, doors just open. I am going to do another series, and it's going to be called Eyes Wide Open, because what we fail to do is we have our mindset right, all we believe, and when we're going to take action, we aren't really paying attention to our surroundings and what's going on and the people in our lives who really are keys to opening some of the doors that are shut. We got to be eyes wide open. Okay, that's going to be a series, but that's going to be the next series when I come back from my vacation. So that being said, while I'm working as this receptionist, I meet my son's dad. Woohoo! So when I meet him, I told him, you know, I'm 5 classes away from an engineering degree, industrial engineering degree, which was the truth. Probably not the truth anymore, because they probably changed courses at this point. But I have a transcript that shows all the stuff. And when you looked at what the classes were back at that point, still, I was 5 classes away. So when I showed him my transcript, he was like, oh, because he thought I was lying. I'm like, why would I lie about something like that? Don't make any sense. So I showed him the transcript. He was like, oh. I feel like in his mind, he said, this girl ain't no dummy. I honestly feel like that's what he said to himself, because he went into high gear of trying to figure out how to move me from working in admin to working in IT. And I currently still work in IT today because of this man's persistence. And y'all have to understand, in living mode, I was comfortable where I was. I felt like, you know, as long as I keep my low profile of not having any children, I can live just fine like this, and I'm happy. Everything's good. I got friends. I'm partying. I'm going out. I'm having a good time. Like, I was chilling. You understand? I mean, I had me a new Nissan Sentra, you know. I was chilling. I need y'all to understand. I thought life was like, woohoo! So when he came along, I was like, okay, well, because I was interested in him, I said, okay, I'll follow your lead and do all this stuff. But I really had no interest in trying to make what we call real money. I was fine. Everything was fine. I'm doing good. So he puts me on this path to learning or trying to get a certification in project management. That doesn't, but as I'm going through that, he's getting a certification in cybersecurity. And he is like, I'm understanding some of the things, because his class was online, you know, like a online class with the instructor, that kind of thing, live instructor. So because I would watch it a little bit with him and talk, and he was like, man, you understanding this? So he switched me and said, you're going to do this with me. Now, by this time, y'all, I'm pissed. I'm like, look, I done put all this time into trying to be this project manager that I don't want to be, and now I got to do something else. But I said, I'm going to follow his lead. So in following his lead, I've been in my industry, I don't know, like 10, 12, 13 years at this point, and following his lead. I knew nothing about IT. Nothing. Do you understand? But I met an individual who said, okay, I see something in you, so we're going to work with this. I didn't have anything to lose. I had friends who were like, girl, you gonna do what? You gonna quit your job and do what? And do the intern, and you ain't getting paid and do what? But I saw the potential of what it is that I could have and where it was that I was going. I saw the potential. So I said, I'm gonna give it a shot, because at the end of the day, I can always go back and be an administrative assistant. There's tons of those jobs. I have a great personality. I'm going to have the reference of this job. They did not fire me. I left. You know what I mean? It's like, what? I'm going to try this out. So that being said, that is where living really kicked into high gear, because then I was making more money. I began to travel. As you know, I like to travel. I'm going to Jamaica. Woo! I'm probably in Jamaica or flying to Jamaica as this video is airing on YouTube, premiering on YouTube, because I'm going for my 46th birthday. And that is why I decided to do this series. My goal was to share a part of myself, or as much as I can, with you in these moments today, because I know as I go on this trip, I'm going to do some recording. I think I'm going to try to do some for YouTube, do some for social media, and see what happens. But I want to share more of my truth. But I wanted to give you a base before I was all in my blissful emotional state, because that's where I get on my birthdays. On my birthdays, I get into I'm so grateful and thankful for where I am. Thankful for who I am. Thankful for just being here and still existing. Because you guys, you got to know, in survival and in living mode, I've tried to commit suicide 4 times. Yeah, 4 times. One time I was still living in Baltimore, and the other 3 times have been since I've been here in Houston. But I have not tried to commit suicide in like 11 years. So none of these are recent. And I don't have no intention moving forward to even thinking that way. But life can get hard. And we can feel like there's no way out, and there is no help, and there is no support. But just think, had I been allowed to really successfully kill myself on these 4 tries, I wouldn't be here to share my story. I wouldn't be here to be DawnDares2Dream. I wouldn't be here to deliver all this wonderful, beautiful content that's really wanting you to just move on and live your best life, forgive, let go. I wouldn't be here to share it from my point of view. Now, there are a lot of people out here who are sharing the same type of message. I do understand that. But I firmly believe that there are people who need to hear my message. They need to hear my story so that they can move on and better themselves. Because I had a lot of angels in my life, and my goal is to be an angel to as many as I possibly can. That's why I'm here on YouTube. So share my video, my channel with your family and friends. But that being said, living was great. I got this career and I was traveling and life is good and living, I did a lot of counseling. I need you to know. Remember I told you in survival mode, I didn't know how to forgive. I knew I wanted to. And beginning in this living phase, I didn't really know and I wanted to. So I went to counseling. I had a whole lot of therapy. And I'm telling you, I had these 2 great therapists here in Houston, Texas that have really helped shape and mold me, because the one thing they always did was they were very encouraging, because they were surprised at the life that I had lived, as a child, how I was still standing in front of them willing to forgive. They thought that was like crazy. Do you understand? That my therapist, therapy's all about positivity and all this stuff and getting you well and getting you whole, but they were just in shock that I really came in the door wanting to do that. I just didn't know how to. And so we dug a lot into my past and a lot in different places, but therapy can never get everywhere, So it's always a ongoing thing for me of soul searching who I am, where am I going, what is my purpose here? I'm always doing that. And I know my purpose here is to share my story and to motivate others, to dream again, because I had lost mine. I lost mine 4 times. Do you understand? Trying to take my life and not be here anymore, because I was over it. I was done. And I thought that the only option was not to live. But I'm here. I'm so happy because life is so good right now. Thriving is a whole nother ball game. And on our next video, we're going to get into thriving and what that looks like, what that tastes like, what that feels like. Because in the thriving phase is when you really tap into that abundance that has been around you all of this time. It's been here. You just haven't seen it. Your eyes weren't open. I'm telling you, when your eyes are wide open and you are truly living from an abundant mindset, life can't get any sweeter. So anyway, be with me. If you are on my social media, I'm DawnDares2Dream on Facebook and on Instagram. Follow me, follow my story as I go on vacation, because I tell you, I'm turning, what time I say? I think I'm turning 46. Yeah, I'm turning 46. I'm turning 46. I think I said 47, didn't I? Anyway, I'm turning 46 years old, and I plan on enjoying every moment of it. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Also, remember to leave me a comment with any questions that you may have. There is a share button down here with an arrow. Click on that. Share this to your social media platform like Facebook. My face is going to be up here in a circle, and I would love for you to click on my face and subscribe. And I'm going to place 2 series. The last series that I just finished up, was Taking Responsibility for Your Life. I'm going to have that up here, and my bipolar journey as well. So thanks for hanging out with me today, dreamers. As always, I enjoy talking to my dreamers. Have a great day, dreamers.